The lights in the glass tower of Litton Enterprises still glowed past midnight. In the marble lobby, a lone janitor mopped the floor in slow, steady circles. His name was Daniel Moore, a single father who had learned to move through life quietly, like someone who didn't want to disturb the world too much. His shift was almost over when the elevator doors slid open with a soft chime. Out stepped Richard Litton, the company's elusive CEO. No one expected him back from Tokyo for another week. Daniel froze, mop in hand. The CEO's return was always news, but his arrival in the dead of night felt strange, almost wrong. Richard looked exhausted. His tie was loose, his eyes sharp but tired. "Didn't expect anyone to be here," he said. His tone wasn't harsh, just distant. Daniel gave a small nod, ready to return to his work when a soft sound, like a stifled sob, echoed faintly from the corridor behind him. The CEO's head turned immediately. His brows drew together. "Who's here?" Daniel's heart thudded. He knew that sound. He'd heard it only minutes earlier, coming from the restroom near the staff lockers. It belonged to a woman, a young one, frightened, clutching her phone as if it were a lifeline. Now, she was crouched behind the supply closet door, trembling. Daniel didn't know her name. She had burst into the building 15 minutes ago, breathless and terrified, saying only one thing: "Please, don't call anyone. I just need to hide." He hadn't questioned her. The fear in her eyes had said more than words ever could. Richard took a step forward. "Is someone back there?" Daniel dropped his mop and moved between him and the hallway. "Sir," he said quietly, "please don't. Just shut up. Don't say a word." It was the most reckless thing he'd ever done. Richard's eyes widened. For a moment, the air grew thick with tension. No one talked to him like that. But Daniel's face wasn't defiant, it was desperate. That's what stopped Richard from reacting. "What's going on?" he asked, lowering his voice. Daniel hesitated. He wanted to tell him everything but couldn't. The woman had begged him not to. "It's not what you think," he said finally. "Someone needs help. Please trust me." Richard studied him for a long moment. He saw the faint tremor in Daniel's hand, the steady look in his eyes. Against reason, he nodded once. "All right. You've got 2 minutes." Daniel hurried down the corridor. The woman was still there, hiding, her mascara streaked. "He's here," Daniel whispered. "You need to tell me what's going on." Her name, he learned, was Lily. She had been an intern in the finance department, brilliant, ambitious, and new. A week ago, she had discovered that her manager was falsifying invoices. When she confronted him, he threatened her, said no one would believe a temp. Tonight, he'd followed her from the subway. She'd run into the nearest open building, Litton Enterprises, and begged Daniel for. "Please don't let him find me," she whispered. Daniel's chest tightened. He thought of his own daughter, Emma, sleeping at home with her stuffed rabbit, waiting for her dad to bring pancakes in the morning. He couldn't let this young woman be hunted like that. He took off his janitor jacket and handed it to her. "Put this on. Keep your head down." Together they stepped into the lobby. Richard looked at them, eyes narrowing. "Who is she?" "An employee," Daniel said. "And she's not safe." Before Richard could respond, the front doors burst open. A man in a rumpled suit stormed in, face flushed with rage. "Where is she?" he shouted. Lily shrank behind Daniel. The janitor stepped forward, grip tightening on his mop handle. "You need to leave," he said evenly. The man sneered. "You're a janitor. Move." Richard's voice cut through the room, cold and clear. He said leave. The manager froze. His eyes flicked toward the CEO, and all the color drained from his face. "Mr. Litton, I didn't realize." "Apparently not," Richard said. "Security will be here in 30 seconds. You can either walk out or be escorted out." The man stammered something and bolted for the exit. The glass doors shut behind him, and silence filled the room again. Lily broke down then, tears spilling freely. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I didn't know what else to do." Richard turned to Daniel. "You did the right thing," he said quietly. "Both of you stay here." He made a quick call to his head of security, then another to HR. When he was done, he walked back to Daniel, who stood by the mop bucket, looking uneasy. "You could have lost your job for this," Richard said. Daniel gave a tired smile. "Maybe. But I've got a daughter. If she were in trouble, I'd hope someone would stand up for her too." Something softened in Richard's expression. "How old is she?" 6. Thinks pancakes fix everything. For the first time, the CEO chuckled. She might be right. By morning, the incident had already spread through the building. The corrupt manager was gone, and Lily was offered a permanent position under direct supervision of the CEO. As for Daniel, he came to work the next night expecting things to go back to normal. But Richard was waiting in the lobby, holding a coffee and a sealed envelope. "Daniel," he said, "this is for you." Inside was a letter of promotion, head of maintenance, and a scholarship fund for his daughter's schooling. Daniel blinked, speechless. "Sir, I don't." Richard shook his head. "You don't need to thank me. You protected one of my people when I wasn't here. That makes you part of this company in a way most will never understand." When Daniel returned home that morning, Emma ran into his arms, laughing. He held her close, heart full. He didn't tell her about the night's danger, only that he had met someone kind who believed doing the right thing still mattered. And somewhere across the city, Lily looked out her apartment window, thinking about the janitor who had told the CEO to stay silent, and in doing so, had spoken louder than anyone else ever could.